I'll never forget the day a white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day. That we had a black president, and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems. The root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that fucking shit, that's ruined us. It's ruined white people, and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we try will fail. It's dysfunctional and it's toxic, and Trump and this regime is the perfect proof of all that shit. How we got in this fucking mess? White people's bullshit. White people's racist fucking bullshit. Period.
Hi, I'm Kylie, and white conservatives are terrified of POC outnumbering us. And I truly believe this is the motivation behind a lot of hateful policies in the US. If you haven't heard of the Great Replacement Theory, it is that over time, if enough black and brown immigrants come to the US, as well as white people having children with POC, then over time, POC will outnumber white people. And the reason that this is so unsettling to a lot of white people, especially conservative white people, is that they are terrified that if POC become in power, then they will treat us like we've treated them in the past, which is obviously not great. It involves subjugation of people, enslavement, assault, violence of basically every kind. And I think that white people can feel the shift happening as they are becoming more and more outnumbered, and that is why they are clinging so tightly to power in Congress and with the president right now. And that's why it's so funny when white people deny that racism exists, because if they didn't think racism did exist, they wouldn't be scared of being outnumbered. But they understand the ways that we have treated people of color has been atrocious, and thus they are scared of the tables turning and of being in that position of subjugation.
If the system is built to benefit us, then why are so many white people still angry? That's a question that I've been sitting with for a few days, especially after seeing so many white people spreading hate and fear online. And it just got me thinking. Now, I'm no expert, and I can only share what I've experienced myself and what I'm thinking, and I'm always open to other opinions and correction. So, equality feels like loss when privilege has always been your norm, and also facing injustice can feel really uncomfortable. And sitting with that discomfort can sometimes feel like an attack internally. And then because guilt is easier to hide with anger than having to actually heal through accountability. The very system that's built to keep the disenfranchised groups oppressed also weakens the oppressor. if you are born into privilege and into a system that's rigged for you to win all the time, you don't have to develop the tenacity and the courage and the resilience that I can clearly see in the oppressed groups. So when that system is challenged and the ones who honed those skills over years of being oppressed finally get their well-deserved success, it's easier to feel like the opportunities are being taken away from you rather than face the reality that you just didn't win this time. And it's because the playing field's just leveled out. At the same time, the media and politics can also frame equity as reverse racism, which it's not. It's purely just the scales being brought back to balance or back into balance. When you're confronted with the reality that you benefited from a system that hurt others, it creates an inner conflict or a clash of how you see yourself as a good person or a fair person. And it's so much easier to just reject or dismiss the idea of privilege altogether rather than face what it might mean morally. Now, I know there will be those comments that says not all white people, and that goes without saying. But there are still those who say, it's been 30 plus years, can we just let it go? Or, I didn't create the system and I'm not part of the problem. But we benefited from that system. Whether we wanted to be in it or not, we benefited from it. And that makes it our responsibility to help dismantle it. And we can speak up for the ones whose voices have been silenced for so long.
I know for a fact that they are scared of equality, honestly. I know. Because for people that have been in America for so long before you came, don't you think they should be scared? And you know the funniest part is them trying to act as if they own and belt America. Only few white folks can own up to their chests and tell you that this is what the exact problem is. We are scared. They thought that the same way they treated black people are the same way black people are going to treat them if eventually black people get to the top. That is why every single time they show themselves, they appear, they just want to be racist. They just want to make you feel like they have a certain privilege that you do not have as a black person. They just want to make you do this. They just want to make you see this. While in real sense, black people have grown more than that level. Like, we are not even on that page anymore. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in this episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And with that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with more commentaries.
One thing I don't do is participate in delusions of righteousness, and that's why I got out of Western activism online spaces, because I've come to the conclusion that you guys do not think that these systems are bad. These systems make you feel bad, and you're upset that you are not the beneficiaries of them, but you don't genuinely believe that these systems are bad. That's why things like the Maddie Swan, Yuval situations are going to continue to happen, because belief inspires action. If y'all wanted to get rid of patriarchy, it would have gone a long time ago. If you wanted the Black liberation movement to succeed, it would have succeeded a long time ago. If you wanted capitalism to end, it would have ended a long time ago. The problem is all of you are holding out, not all, most of you are holding out for when you can have a chance to be at the top of the food chain. How do I know? Even within these activism spaces, y'all replicate the same hierarchies. Whenever you have a chance to posture yourself above someone, you do. Within the Black liberation movement, there are sections who are extremely xenophobic to the Black diaspora. You look at the feminism movement, white women, oh my God, they replicate and practice white supremacy constantly against Black women. The women who have some proximity to whiteness also practice a lot of discrimination against Black women within feminism. People who say they don't like capitalism, they practice classism. You will create the food chain and then posture yourself above it and inflict the same harm that you're fighting against on the outside. You'll do it to the people who are fighting with you. And I think what makes me scared for y'all is that you have created successfully an echo chamber where nobody from the outside can ever challenge you or let you know, like, hey, don't y'all realize that you're doing the same thing that you're fighting against? You're anti-Semitic, you're anti-Black, you're anti-American. And I'm just like, hey man, fly your kite. Fly your kite. Like, you can't build a new house with the master's tools. And you can't put new wine in old wineskins. But that's what I see Western activism being. You might not like yourself for a little bit when you face the truth that, damn, I'm fighting against capitalism, but I deep down want to benefit from it. Or damn, I'm fighting against patriarchy, but I weaponize it against men and other women. I'm fighting against white supremacy, but I'm still very biased. And I still hold white as the ideal and as the standard of human, as the default human setting. When you guys are ready to do that and stop harming other people, then we can see a true change. But for now, it's just pretty words. It's just pretty words with no actual belief behind it. Because we know when people believe something, change happens. So if change isn't happening, it's because enough of you don't believe it. You're just stroking your ego and trying to cosplay a good person. People are dying, Kim. It's time to actually do real shit.
You know, something really makes me open up my eyes when it comes to white people is that y'all like to call us sensitive, y'all like to call us snowflakes, y'all like to say that we think everything is woke and not everything's that deep, when there's actual racism being targeted towards us, right? But y'all will be the same people that will get mad when a Black person is better at a sport than you. And instead of congratulating that Black person, y'all keep saying how, oh, it's because of this, or oh, it's because they had this, and the white person didn't have that, and or they did it wrong. Y'all are so insecure. Like, oh my God. White people are so insecure. Like, genuinely, how do you spend hundreds of years conquering, because all you really did was spread diseases, but okay. How did you spend hundreds of years colonizing a third of the world and you're still insecure? It's not adding up. Like, you have everything, right? Or you claim to have everything, but yet you act like you have nothing. Because the way you act when a person of color excels at something, then you like have a fucking temper tantrum. Oh well, like, shut the fuck up. Like, you literally killed us. You literally murdered, slaughtered us, destroyed our resources, destroyed our history, destroyed our culture, and yet you still have the audacity to get mad just because I'm a better runner than you, just because I'm better at art than you, just because I'm a better singer, rapper, dancer. Nigga. But yet you want to say it's not that deep when we're talking about actual racism. Right, okay. Like, I literally just saw a post, like a funny little post of like when it was it's about like medieval art, right? And it's basically comparing like ancient like Indian art of like elephants compared to European medieval art of elephants. And basically it's just making fun of European medieval art and saying that the medieval art of elephants is super inaccurate and they don't even look like elephants at all compared to the Indian depictions of elephants. And obviously it's funny because Indians obviously saw elephants a lot more than medieval Europeans. No, mind you, the video did not like insinuate that like Europeans were always around elephants to have these descriptions to draw them accurately. Nobody was insinuating that. We know fucking geography. We know that Europeans did not have elephants. Duh. It's just funny. That's why it's funny, because they didn't have any accurate depictions of elephants at the time, because there was no elephants in Europe. I mean, there's still no elephants in Europe. They're not from Europe. And all the comments are just of white people whining, Europeans just whining, just not even just white Europeans, just white people in general, just whining in the comments. Well, it's kind of hard to draw something you've never seen. Yeah, that's the funny part. That's why it's funny, because y'all didn't see elephants. That's why the drawings are inaccurate. That's why it's funny. Why are you taking this to heart? Why are you taking it personally? You see what I mean? Like, white people are so insecure. And whenever a person of color is better at them than something, they always bring up colonization as a way to like one-up us and be like, well, at least we built this, at least we did this. Yeah, from you, the only reason why you were able to build that was because of literally pillaging other people. You don't get like cool points for doing that. Like, I'm sorry, like that doesn't show your skill or talent. You literally, the only reason why you were able to build these things was because of the suffering of other people. Like, okay, you're so cool, like, oh my god, like, you're so fucking cool, like, oh my god. Like, y'all never have anything to actually like base your talents on. You just go straight to that. You just go straight to colonization. Like, you just go straight to the taking advantage of people of color for hundreds of years. To make yourself seem interesting. You see, you're not interesting based off of your own merit. No, you're interesting because of the people you've taken advantage of for centuries. You see the difference between people of color who are actually interesting on our own compared to you being only interesting because of you taking advantage of us. You see what I mean? But yeah, it was literally just a video about medieval art compared to Indian art. And I guess you can never compliment, you know, anything other than medieval art, European art, without them getting mad. And it's also like, it's not just elephants that they were bad at drawing either. Like, have you seen their pictures of their drawings of cats and dogs? They don't even look like cats and dogs. They look like fucking aliens. And then they gonna say, oh, well, those are just specific art styles. Right, okay.
I've always found it so crazy how Black Americans have had to take on the burden of what we went through. Like, it's not on us to prove that we're innocent, that we won't retaliate or hurt you because of what we've been through. It's literally not on us to water ourselves down because you feel threatened on a land that's not even yours. You know what I mean? And it's so sad because a lot of us walk around feeling like we're a threat, feeling like we're violent or unsafe as a whole just because we wear this skin and we were born into this body. We walk around feeling like we have to go out of our way to be so kind to them because they're oh so scared and defenseless. You know what I mean? They act like they're so innocent. And I found that the more defensive or the more scared and fearful a white person is, typically the more dirt they have on their hands, the more they say the N-word behind your back, the more they feed into stereotypes about Black people whenever you're not around.
And on one hand, a lot of times they want our validation. They want to be, oh, brother this and brother that. And they want the soul, but they don't want the blues. I don't know if that's the line, but for real, like, they want to fit in. They know that we have something that they want. But on the other hand, they can't help but to energetically try to place themselves over us because, oh, you're still a black person though. You know, I'm still white. They still understand the benefits they get from being white in America and how we're treated and microaggressed being black in America.
Somebody who grew up with a racist, angry father, I am in full agreement with you. There is a very big reason why, if you know me, you know that I don't date white men. It is just not something I do. My own father put a horrible taste in my mouth for white men, and I will never understand my own father. Like, the man who is half of me, the man who created me, was filled with such hate and such rage. And one of the things I don't think I will ever forget is the time my sister was dating a black guy, and he took one of his bullets, he wrote the guy's name on it, he set it on a shelf in our house, and he told her, you make sure if he walks in my front door, he sees that bullet waiting for him. That was my own father. That's the man I grew up with. I mean, until he left and didn't look back because he chose alcohol over his children and wife. But that's a whole nother story. But I agree with you. And there are people who comment and say, oh, you can't lump us all together. You can't do this. You can't do that. I'm basing this on my pure life experience with my own family and what I went through growing up into my young adult life. There is a very big reason I feel the way I do, and a very big reason I am not like my father. So it's one of those things that can go either they're following in the footsteps or they're going the complete opposite. And I'm thankful that I went the opposite way. It's embarrassing how my own dad was, and I can't change it, but at least I can speak up now. And try to help how I can.
White woke people don't understand inclusivity. They weaponize inclusivity to put every marginalized and oppressed groups into the same scale of equality. But it doesn't work like that because there are levels. They lack the nuance to understand equity, that some people are more marginalized than others. And you cannot equate and expect the same fight, the same activism, and the same efforts on everyone. That is hypocritical, that is white supremacy, that is wrong, morally wrong, and narcissistic. But it's something that white woke marginalized communities love to do, and they use that rhetoric against people of color, women of color, specifically queer women of color, in order to moralize them and moralize their fight. And when the specific woman of color, the specific marginalized person doesn't express, or for the white woke person, they feel excluded by the experience of the woman of color speaking about her experience, then they attack her morality and use their rhetoric of inclusivity in order to patronize the woman of color, so that her talk includes everyone. But the reality, what they really try to do is not make her include everyone. It's just they're using any excuse to uphold her to a stricter standard, because they do not have empathy. They want to be the most oppressed, and they cannot fathom, and they don't like it when they're not the victim. When they see someone suffering more than them, they have to put themselves as the victim in order to receive some empathy. So the woman of color, the marginalized women of color, specifically black women, because this happens specifically to black women who are the most oppressed social group, these women, the white and other groups of marginalized people put a pressure onto the black woman in order to perform an excellent an extreme standard of ethics, and she has to be perfect, and she has to fight for everyone, and she has to talk about every marginalized group. This is wrong. You cannot expect a black woman to fight every fight. On the contrary, if you have a little bit of empathy and understanding of the scale of inequality, you would realize that black women are the most marginalized group. And so, instead of expecting the black woman to fight more, you would let her rest, or only let her focus on her direct experiences, and you focus on the things that lack for you or provide for her the standard of equality that is lacking. But it's something that they cannot fathom because they always expect labor from black women, specifically. So it comes a point where you have to compartmentalize, and you have to prioritize your fight based on your specific direct experiences. And that talking about your specific direct experiences doesn't mean excluding other people's experiences. This is a fallacious rhetoric. Yeah.
What we know in terms of the trick of time is that if white people think that black people at any time are receiving something they should have, they're willing to turn over the whole house, flip the whole table, burn everything down, just so black folks can't have it, just so black folks can't get it. Think about DEI. DEI benefited a whole bunch of different demographics, not just white women, but veterans and, Asian people, a lot more than it benefited black folks. But the idea that niggas was getting something in any way was getting more than what white folks think they should have, it got turned around, it got flipped over. And this was the same diversity, equity, inclusion that was used to tell us that we stuck in time. America's much more diverse now. It's a melting pot. We don't live in segregation anymore. We gave you niggas integration. Y'all should be grateful. Look at the diversity. And as soon as we started taking up diversity as a tool to climb that ladder, they said diversity is bad. Now what they're doing is ushering in white supremacy. Number one, specifically ushering in white Christian nationalism. That's the reason why J.D. Vance can hop on the stage and say, white people, you don't have to be ashamed of being white anymore. You don't have to feel bad about being white anymore. In what time has white people not been able to dominate politically, socially, economically in America? At what time was the judicial, legislative, or executive branch not predominantly white? At what time has white history not have been a part of the core curriculum?
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for watching. So since all of them have been saying, oh, ChatGPT is racist, I want to put it out as well that we are going to be using ChatGPT today as our main source of research for today, okay? It is important not to assume that all white people think the same way. Many white people support equality, works against racism, marry across races, build friendship across cultures, and fight discrimination alongside black communities. At the same time, racism and inequality are real issues that have existed for centuries in places like the United States, South Africa, and parts of Europe. When many people resist equality with black people, the reasons are usually connected to history, power, fear, or stereotypes rather than biology or truths. Some common reasons include 1. Historical system of power. Slavery, colonization, segregation, and discriminatory laws created system where white populations have more political, economic, and social power. Some people fear losing advantage they grew up in. The funny part is, they grew up in, but they cannot trace their history to understand that every single thing they are bragging on, every single thing they think they are privileged on, every single thing they think they grew up in is as a result of stealing, looting from black people. Second, fear of change. Where many societies became more equal and diverse, some individuals feel uncertain or threatened by social changes, even if equality does not harm them. The fear of they are going to be better than me. The fear of It's just a whole lot. 3. Stereotypes and misinformation. Racist ideas were taught for generations through media, politics, schools, and propagandas. Some people grew up believing false stereotypes about black people. That is why they can open their mouth and tell you black people are racist too. Black people cannot be prejudiced. Don't tell me that. They are also racist. We are not the only ones that are racist. Black people are also racist. If you see them debating this, you will think they have all of the facts in their lives. Just for the fear of equality. Just for the fear of, oh, they don't need to oppress us. They're going to do the same thing that they did to us. 4. Economic competition. In difficult economic times, some people blame other race group for job loss, housing problem, or crime instead of looking for a larger economic issues. Lack of exposure, where people who grew up separately from other race may rely on stereotype instead of real relationship and experience. Political manipulation, where throughout history, some politicians and groups have used racial divisions to gain votes, power, or control by making groups fear each other. Systemic racism, where inequality can continue through institutions like housing, education, policing, or employment, even when individuals say they personally believe in equality. At the same time, there have always been people of every race who work together for civil rights movement and equality, including during events like the American Civil Rights Movement and the fight against apartheid. White people, we are not like you. We understand the fact that you don't want us to go than you. But facts still remain that black people are still millionaires, trillionaires, billionaires, still inventing, still moving forward. So in this case, where you literally do not want white black people to be equal, can you just allow us to do our things in peace and go our ways where we're not looking for your trouble? I hope that helps. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.